Our first story takes us back to 1972, when a routine flight turned into a miraculous survival story. Vesna Vulovic was a Serbian flight attendant working for JAT Yugoslav Airlines. On January 26, 1972, she was a crew member on Flight 367, a McDonnell Douglas DC-932, flying from Stockholm to Belgrade. The flight was routine until it reached an altitude of 33,000 feet over the Czech Republic. Without warning, an explosion tore the aircraft apart mid-air. It was later determined that a briefcase bomb planted by Croatian nationalists was the cause of the explosion. The plane disintegrated, sending passengers and crew plummeting to the ground. Miraculously, Vesna Vulovic survived the fall. She was found alive in the wreckage by a local villager named Bruno Honke. Vesna had landed in a heavily wooded area covered with snow, which helped cushion her fall. Additionally, she was pinned by a food cart in the tail section of the aircraft, which may have helped protect her from the worst of the impact. Despite surviving, Vesna suffered severe injuries. She had a fractured skull, 3 broken vertebrae, one of which was crushed and left her temporarily paralyzed from the waist down, broken legs and several broken ribs. She remained in a coma for several days and spent months recovering in a hospital. Vesna Vulovic holds the Guinness World Record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. You can also share your incredibly different travel experiences with us, whether it's an unusual flight, a road trip, or something else. Just email us a clear voicemail or a written account. And if your story is interesting, we'll make sure it gets featured in our upcoming videos. Next, we'll hear about a man who lived in an airport terminal for nearly 2 decades. Mehran Karimi Nasseri, also known as Sir Alfred Mehran, was an Iranian refugee who became famous for living in Terminal 1 of Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport for an astounding 18 years. His story inspired the 2004 film The Terminal, starring Tom Hanks. In 1988, Nasseri was en route to the United Kingdom from Belgium via France. He had been granted refugee status in Belgium, but he claimed he was seeking to settle in the UK. However, his papers were reportedly stolen while he was at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Without proper documentation, he could neither board a flight nor leave the airport, as French authorities would not allow him to enter the country without identification. Unable to leave or travel, Nasseri took up residence in Terminal 1 of the airport. He lived on a bench, surrounded by his luggage, and spent his days writing in his diary, reading, and observing the bustle of the airport around him. Airport staff and travelers provided him with food, and over time, he became something of a local celebrity. His story attracted media attention, and he was known as the man without a country. Over the years, Nasseri's situation became a bureaucratic nightmare. Although he eventually received papers from Belgium, he refused to sign them, claiming they were not in his preferred name of Sir Alfred Mehran, a name he had adopted. His legal situation remained unresolved for years. In 2006, Nasseri was hospitalized for an undisclosed illness, which ended his 18-year stay at the airport. Now, let's hear about a lost suitcase that returned with a surprising and heartwarming twist. A woman traveling from London to Sydney experienced the frustration of lost luggage, but her story took an unexpected turn when her luggage was returned with a mysterious gift. The woman, an avid reader, had packed her favorite book for the long flight. Upon arriving in Sydney, she discovered that her luggage had gone missing. After filing a report with the airline, she continued with her trip, hoping that her belongings would eventually be found. Several weeks later, the airline contacted her to say that her luggage had been located and would be delivered to her hotel. When she received it, she noticed an envelope inside, containing a handwritten note from a baggage handler. The note apologized for the inconvenience and explained that the handler had noticed the book in her luggage. Recognizing it as a novel by a famous author, the handler, who happened to be a fan, took the initiative to get the book signed by the author. Along with the signed book, the handler included a small gift. In our fourth story, we'll meet a couple who got married mid-flight. A couple flying from Las Vegas to Baltimore decided to spontaneously get married mid-flight. With the help of the flight crew and passengers, the couple had planned a small wedding in Baltimore, but was nervous about the flight. To calm their nerves, they joked about getting married on the plane. The flight attendants overheard and suggested they could actually do it. The couple, amused by the idea, agreed, and the crew sprang into action. The captain, who was also an ordained minister, offered to officiate the ceremony. The flight attendants decorated the aisle with makeshift streamers made from napkins, and a fellow passenger played wedding music on his guitar. The couple exchanged vows mid-air, with the passengers serving as witnesses. You can also share your incredibly different travel experiences with us, whether it's an unusual flight, a road trip, or something else. Just email us a clear voicemail or a written account. And if your story is interesting, we'll make sure it gets featured in our upcoming videos.